Remember, water is crucial. As soon as you get up, drink your first glass and then spread the other 8 glasses throughout the day. Later on, you can have cool water. As your body temperature rises, you'll be able to process and absorb the water better. Water is very essential for your health. This has been Self-Care Tips.
I cannot be in this seat forever. I recognize that. That's why I have a term and the term will end.
Who wants him out and why? One-on-one with DPP Noordin Haji.
The Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, in partnership with eCitizen, brings you a self-service platform for management of political parties membership. At the click of a button, you can now check the political party you are registered in as a member, resign from a political party, or join a political party of choice. Simply log into your eCitizen account, select your preferred service, fill in the details, then submit. You will receive a system acknowledgement of your request, and an eCitizen system notification will be issued once the processing is complete. ORPP is committed to serve you to promote political rights in a democratic multi-party system. For more information, visit www.orpp.or.ke or engage us using our handles at ORPP Kenya across social media platforms. Your party, your choice.
My name is Muhammad Ahmed Mohamud, the CEO of Kenya Deposit Insurance Corporation, popularly known as KDIC. The corporation recently increased the protected sum from the previous 100,000 shillings to 500,000 shillings per account. This is the highest in sub-Saharan Africa. In effect, the corporation now covers 99% of the depositors in the unlikely event of a closure of a bank. So KDIC encourages the depositors to continue doing business with our banks that are strong and resilient.
Be sure, check out for a KDIC sticker in your banking hall. KDIC, protecting your deposits.
Good evening and thank you so much. We are glad that you created time to join us on Prime Edition tonight, the 24th day of November, the year 2021. The country has tightened its grip in the war against climate change. President Uhuru Kenyatta announcing that we are set to invest over $60 billion to cut greenhouse gas emissions in the country. We got details of this and other stories contained in our comprehensive news bulletin. Plus,
of course, as we up the war against climate change, question is, are we winning the war against corruption? And that's the conversation tonight with the Director of Public Prosecutions, Kioria, that is Noordin Haji. Obviously, when you think about it, there's been pressure on him to talk about the KEMSA case, the COVID billionaires. Will he prosecute the COVID-19 billionaires? That conversation is coming up on KBC Channel 1. Be sure to join us as we speak to Noordin Haji, the Director of Public Prosecutions.
I'm excited to know who wants him out and why. Yes, that question will be answered in the course of that particular interview that is coming up. But first, let's get the top stories.
Kenya has committed to reduce her greenhouse gas emissions by 32% by the year 2030. This will cost us in an excess of 6,874 billion Kenya shillings.
Climate change.
Kenya seeking $62 billion to reverse greenhouse emissions.
Unwelcome member.
Allies of DP William Ruto want Martha Koome out of election preparedness committee.
And all odds against Said Chitembwe.
Another petition filed seeking removal of judge. Welcome to the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Lensa Odingo. My name is Serfine Achieng.
And my name is John Jacob Kioria. Welcome to the broadcast. And we begin our news tonight with the news that Kenya will invest $62 billion in the next 9 years to reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
President Uhuru Kenyatta says 13% of the required funds will be sourced locally, while the balance will come from external donors.
The head of state was speaking virtually at the 7th Annual Devolution Conference in Wote, Makueni County.
Kenya is looking to play a leading role in the war on climate change and help reverse the damage by 2030. Though the country contributes less than 1% of global greenhouse gas emissions, the impact of climate change is already being felt, and urgent need to remedy the situation is required.
I note with much appreciation that 33 county governments have developed county-specific laws on climate change, and that a few of them are providing strong leadership on this agenda.
In a recorded message to the 7th Annual Devolution Conference, President Uhuru Kenyatta said Kenya will look to build on existing policies and faithfully play its part in the global war on climate change.
Kenya has committed to reduce her greenhouse gas emissions by 32% by the year 2030. This will cost us in an excess of 6,874 billion Kenya shillings, or $62 billion US.
The 7th Devolution Conference, which is anchored on climate action, is expected to culminate in the adoption of a number of measures to combat global warming.
You have decided to confront the elephant in the room of human survival, the issue of climate change. This is a clear indication that counties are coming of age.
The conference is expected to provide counties with a platform to demonstrate bold climate leadership at a time many Kenyans spread across some 10 counties are facing famine attributed to climate change.
What we are experiencing in Laikipia, what we are experiencing in Baringo, what is going on in most of North Rift today, the movement, the theft of livestock, the pasture and water resource conflicts in that region are all related to climate change.
County governments appreciate the National Treasury for including county governments in the development and rollout of financing locally-led climate action.
The Devolution Conference provides governors and their counties with an opportunity to reflect on their scorecards on fighting climate change. For Prime Edition in Makueni County, I'm Edward Kabasa.
And the Devolution Conference is still ongoing in Makueni County. Let's focus on politics now. A section of leaders allied to Deputy President William Ruto want the Chief Justice Martha Koome to pull out of the Election Preparedness Committee. Speaking separately in Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties, where they accompanied Deputy President William Ruto on Wednesday, the leaders said the judiciary must be a neutral arbiter of election disputes and has no role whatsoever in its preparedness. The United Democratic Alliance UDA party has already written a protest letter to the Chief Justice protesting her inclusion in the committee.
Deputy President William Ruto's allies have come to protest the involvement of Chief Justice Martha Koome in the Election Preparedness Committee, warning that her involvement will compromise the independence of the judiciary in arbitrating election matters.
Sasa wewe Martha Koome, wachana na mambo ya siasa. The only way that you can meddle in the elections of this country is when an election dispute is brought before you in the court, not to sit in any committee whose agenda is not in the Constitution, whose agenda is not in any regulations of this country.
We want to say
that the preparation of elections is okay. But the stakeholders and players, you must know your rightful place.
The leaders urged Kome not to allow politicians to tarnish the reputation of the judiciary that has earned the trust of Kenyans.
I am requesting our Chief Justice, our First Lady Chief Justice, ya kwamba don't fall prey, don't fall into the trap of political machinations of persons whom we know.
Deputy President William Ruto, while addressing residents of Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties, asked leaders to allow Kenyans to make independent choices in the 2022 elections without intimidation.
Wale wanajaribu kututisha ati sijui watafanya, tunataka tuwaambie Kenya will remain united and peaceful.
Ruto said that those in the Hustler Nation have an elaborate plan that will address the country's economic challenges, which have resulted in high unemployment rates.
Next year, kwa mapenzi ya Mungu, vile tulikuwa tumekubaliana na nyinyi, agenda yetu ya kwanza, priority number 1, ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunaweka pesa ya serikali bilioni 100 kwa mambo ya housing, agro processing, value addition, manufacturing, ili tupange ajira ya hawa vijana wa taifa letu la Kenya.
Meanwhile, all is set for the Wiper Party National Delegates meeting scheduled for tomorrow at the Kasarani Indoor Arena. 6,000 delegates are expected at the annual meeting, which will also be used to decide the party's way forward ahead of the 2022 general election. Zainab Said with more details.
The final touches ahead of Thursday's delegate meeting for the Wiper Party. It is during tomorrow's meeting at the Kasarani Indoor Arena that the party will unveil its leader Kalonzo Musyoka as their presidential candidate and also give him mandate to negotiate with same-minded party leaders and parties ahead of the 2022 general election. The new party officials appointed by NEC are also expected to be endorsed. Meanwhile, Embu Senator Njeru Ndigwa has raised concern over rising culture of political intolerance in the country ahead of the 2022 polls.
This is not time for political intolerance. This country wants peace, and all the top presidential aspirants, all of them are talking about two main things: peace and economy. So we do not want other fellows who want other political positions to misuse our young people.
Still in matters elections, the church has called on political leaders to preach message of peace as they campaign for the 2022 general election. Speaking in Lodwar at a conference that brought together Glory Outreach Ministries church leaders from Ethiopia, South Sudan, Uganda, West Pokot, Laikipia and Baringo counties, the Glory Outreach Ministries church Archbishop Benson Ekwom denounced politicians who spread hatred among the communities.
Sisi kama Turkana, kama Pokot, hatutaki mtu yoyote atutumie katika siasa zake, maana tumeenjoy, tunajua amani ni kitu muhimu.
For Prime Edition, I'm Zainab Said.
It appears like there's a problem in the judiciary because a fresh petition has been filed at the Judicial Service Commission seeking to remove High Court Judge Said Juma Chitembwe. Francis Wambua wants Chitembwe kicked out, claiming he's not fit to hold office due to his alleged involvement in corruption.
Wambua has implored the JSC to expeditiously hear and determine the petition tabled seeking to oust Justice Said Chitembwe from office. Wambua argues that he has tangible and credible information that the judge used his relative as a proxy to conduct dubious land dealings that have acted in a deal that involved the ousted Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. Wambua also claimed the judge has been using some of his relatives as proxies to cover up his corrupt dealings. Wambua further claims that he is in possession of telephone conversations between the judge, a group of lawyers who had approached the judges to rule against Sonko in his petition blocking his removal from office. He accuses the judge of demonstrating open bias and malice when handling Sonko's cases. Elsewhere, the High Court has declined an application by the Attorney General to suspend the implementation of the 4-month jail term handed to DCI boss George Kinoti for contempt of court. Justice Anthony Mrima noted that the AG's application was filed a day to the lapse of the 7-day window granted to Kinoti to surrender to prison authorities and start his sentence. The matter will be heard on 25th of November. Finally, Chief Justice Martha Koome has urged the new Salaries and Remunerations representatives to the JSC Abdullahi Abdi to uphold the Constitution and the rule of law to ensure Kenyans get services.
And what you should do always is bear in mind these constitutional laws as you discharge your mandate of setting and reviewing the remuneration and benefits of state officers and advising on the remuneration and benefits of other public officers.
She was speaking during the swearing-in of Abdi as a member of the Judicial Service Commission.
Right, and now crossing over to Kajiado County, Principal Chief Wilson Mpapayo of Ntashat location has been promoted to Senior Principal Chief in recognition of his commitment to public administration. During the installation ceremony in Kajiado Wednesday, Interior Cabinet Secretary Dr. Fred Matiang'i described Mpapayo as a role model who has exemplified true diligence in service delivery and community leadership. The administrator was instrumental in ending cattle theft and cross-border conflicts between communities from the counties of Kajiado and Kiambu.
Ukifanya kazi kwa bidii na ukifanya kazi kwa njia ya kipekee kama huyu mzee tunaye mtawasa leo, watu wote wataona na sisi sote tutaona, tutakupandisha madaraka. Kwa sababu huyu mzee amekuwa kielelezo chema na amekuwa mzee ambaye anaonyesha hakika kwamba anaelewa kazi ile ambayo inatakiwa kufanywa.
Kulikuwa na mzozano hapa kidogo ya community sijui hapa na nene. Yeye akasimama akasema yeye kama ofisa wa serikali yeye hataki ukabila community kwenda kugonganisha community na community. Akasema tukae sisi na nini na amani. Hiyo sasa actually hata sio principal chief. Imeenda zaidi ya senior. Sasa ni senior. Sasa wewe ni shira na ule shira mko sawa sawa. Mungu akubariki sana na muendelea na kazi, tuko pamoja.
Na sehemu hii ya Kajiado West mile 46 Alang'ata wa sub county baada haijaanza kufanya kazi, hawa ndugu waliniambia nikupatie hiyo ujumbe kwamba wanakusubiri pia vile umekuja kutawaza hii ukuje utuanzishie hiyo sub county ya Lodokilani huko mile 46.
Ishara kwamba hata sisi tumepokea baraka.
And now the Ministry of Public Service and Gender Chief Administrative Secretary Beatrice Elachi has challenged the Senate to review devolution laws and pave way for the delocalization of county staff. Elachi said review of the laws will create diversity and enhance service delivery.
Speaking in Mombasa during the official opening of a 3-day joint capacity building symposium, the CAS said the review of the laws will enhance unity and diversity.
It's a timely conference coming at a moment when HR has to grapple with many dynamic socio-economic, technology, legal and ecological issues. Some of these HR concerns have precipitated the need for change and indeed triggered transformation, realignment and repositioning of traditional government HR practices.
Director General of Kenya School of Government, Professor Ludeki Chwea, called for formulation of new policies and structures in the hiring of public servants based on emerging trends affecting human resource such as COVID-19 pandemic.
Times have changed and the methods that we used to hire and recruit public servants in the past are no longer useful in giving us the right person for the job under changed circumstances. We have computer softwares that help us psychometric testing systems. At the Kenya School of Government, we have recently acquired one.
The purpose of the 3-day symposium is to come up with solutions to the emerging trends affecting the public service workers and also charting the way forward on implementation of new recruitment strategies. For Prime Edition from Mombasa County, I'm Michael Mondiga.
Thank you, Michael Mondiga, for that report. And now moving on, the air medical transport sector Wednesday got a boost with the unveiling of a helicopter, ambulance and helipad at the Nairobi West Hospital. Dr. Andrew Gashie, the hospital's chief medical director, termed the development a milestone for the institution and the health sector at large. He said it will facilitate speedy evacuation and access to medical services for critically ill patients.
Ambulance can be able to pick this a critically ill person from anywhere in the country or even outside the country. Able to land on what we are referring to as Nairobi West Hospital helipad, and therefore be able to drop the patient who will be managed almost immediately. Sometimes they have been using what they call the fixed wing aircrafts, but these ones require an airport. Like for example, we have Jomo Kenyatta Airport or we have Wilson Airport. However, what we are now saying is that we are in a position to be able to land an air ambulance or a helicopter which has been modified to resemble an ambulance.
Now we focus on the COVID-19 situation in the country, and it has recorded 35 new COVID-19 positive cases from a sample size of 4,246 tested in the last 24 hours. This figure represents a positivity rate of 0.8%. According to the Ministry of Health, the total confirmed positive cases are now 254,816, and cumulative tests conducted so far are 2.8 million. 2 deaths were reported, one in the last 24 hours and one a late demise reported after conducting facility record audits in November, increasing the death toll to 5,332. As of Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021, a total of 6.59 million vaccines had been administered across the country. Globally, statistics from the Johns Hopkins University show that more than 259 million people have been infected, while over 5.1 million others have lost their fight to the disease. Now, the Ministry of Education has directed parents with special needs children to present them to special needs centers across the country for functional assessment. According to the ministry's Principal Secretary, Fatuma Chege, the assessment will help the government to plan on how to cater for them.
Speaking during the opening of the 3rd National Conference on Special Needs Education at the Kenya Institute of Special Education, the PS said a functional assessment is key for the country to ensure no child is left behind in education matters, especially under the CBC model.
The teachers and parents, we are saying they must work together. That's why we are talking about reforms that embrace parental empowerment and engagement.
And a session of Kajiado County parents and teachers are advocating for reintroduction of corporal punishment in schools to curb students' unrest.
Kuweka fimbo chini ati kuchapwa. Kama wewe vile ulivyolelewa na mzazi wako, inafaa umlee vivyo hivyo.
Still on matters of education, Gesa Bakwa, one of the oldest primary school in Masaba South Sub-County, Kisii County, is reportedly in a deplorable condition in terms of facilities. According to the school's Board of Management Chairman, Kennedy Michira, the ECD class is one of the most affected. In other stories, a family in Ikolomani, Kakamega County is mourning the death of their loved one after he was attacked by a bull during a bullfight event at Nyayo Tizon in Kakamega town. The deceased, identified as Robert Atema, aged 39 years, was trampled to death by the bull as he watched a bullfight match over the weekend.
Hiyo ng'ombe kulingana na kimila inatakana itolewe kwa boma iende uwawe na ifanywe kama sherehe, kama iko sherehe ya kimila fulani, nyama yake itumike hapo.
Elsewhere, Samburu North Member of Parliament Alois Lentoimaga is calling on the national government to come to aid of residents adversely affected by hunger. Samburu County is among 11 arid and semi-arid regions placed on red alert by the government and where a humanitarian crisis is looming due to lack of food and water.
Mama, watoto, wadogo under 5 bila chochote wako na hanga. Yale ambayo tumeongea hapa lazima ichukuliwe hatua haraka sana to save lives.
Elsewhere, Irati residents from Muserech, Eldama Ravine held demonstrations to protest the fencing of section of the road at Kabse Tek by an individual who claims that it passes through his farm. The controversial section borders Nakuru and Baringo counties, with residents of both regions benefiting from shared social amenities such as schools, hospitals and a children's home.
Sai tuko na wagonjwa na watu hawafiki hapa. Leo ikinyesha watoto wataenda shule.
Finally, the Nairobi Water and Sewerage Company has partnered with the Water Sector Trust Fund to improve the sewerage system in the city's slum area. Besides improving the sewerage system, the two institutions are pushing for the provision of decent toilets to the slum dwellers.
Did get a UN award for supporting people to have sanitation at different places, at the rural, at the urban, and we shall continue doing it.
All right, there are a record 4 petitions filed against DPP Noordin Haji, all seeking his removal from office, accusing him of all manner of things. Tonight he gets the opportunity to respond to them and to face allegations only on Extra Mile. That is upcoming next.
Yeah, coming up after the break. Continue engaging us on social media. Ibrahimu Miheso, you're tuned from Mukuru kwa Ruben, and Enos Omodi also following KBC 9 p.m. news. Thank you so much. You can continue interacting with us on social media. That interview coming up after the break. Stay with us.
The government's introduction of Nyayo buses has been a big asset, especially to Nairobi and other urban centers. With the increase in Kenya's population and the rural-urban migration, most urban areas have discovered that they can hardly cope with the demand in the provision of public transport. Thanks to the caring attitude of our Nyayo government, many Nyayo buses can now be seen on Kenyan roads far away from the capital city.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email newsroom@kbc.co.ke, call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
The Office of the Registrar of Political Parties is a model regulator of political parties mandated to register political parties, regulate political parties, and administer the political parties fund. ORPP is committed to serve you to promote political rights in a democratic multi-party system.
Chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali imewekeza vilivyo katika sekta ya kilimo ili kuongeza uzalishaji chakula na pia kulinda mapato ya wakulima. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254.
My administration is currently reforming the sector by increasing output and productivity, boosting incomes in agribusiness, and ensuring household resilience and food security.
Ilikuwa sisi na njaa, lakini wakati Uhuru alikuja, sisi nasema asante kwa sababu hii mtu anapatia maji ya irrigation.
Tunalima mchele na inatusaidia. Tunaweza kusomesha watoto, tunaweza kukaa kama mkulima anakaa kama mfanyabiashara mwingine. Hatuna tofauti sana. Sasa maisha tunaona maisha sasa ni mepesi.
All right, and tonight Noordin Haji shares his ups and downs serving the country as the Director of Public Prosecutions. That interview with John Jacob Kioria begins right now.
On Extra Mile tonight, we're speaking to the Director of Public Prosecutions, looking at the performance of the office. Most importantly, what are the gains? What are the losses? Are there flops? And obviously, looking into the future. And the Director of Public Prosecutions, Noordin Haji, joins us tonight. Karibu sana bwana DPP.
Asante sana.
All right, let's begin with your mandate as the DPP in terms of the chain of administration of justice. What is the role of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions?
Yeah, that is well laid down in the Constitution, and the mandate is to prosecute. The Constitution gives the state powers of prosecutions to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Yeah.
Since you took office in 2018, what would you say are the major gains in terms of being in charge of this office? What has this office been able to achieve since you took office?
I think a number of things, including being able to prosecute a number of high-profile cases. But we've also managed to successfully do a lot of reforms within the ODPP and to modernize its systems and its processes. But we've also managed to, I think, sensitize the public of our role. And also we have strived to ensure that access to justice reaches to each and every mwananchi.
Yeah. Talk a bit about modernization, particularly when you're dealing with issues of case management. Talk a bit about...
what we've done is we've now successfully been able to digitize our processes, and we have now a digital case management system that has been connected with that of the Judiciary. So we have electronic e-filing, especially in Nairobi, and we are rolling it out to elsewhere in the country. We have also managed to ensure that we are able to proceed with the prosecutions and serve the mwananchi, even through the digital connection by virtual, doing virtual courts with the Judiciary. This has really enhanced our ability to be able to reach to everybody, even those who cannot avail themselves in court. Of course, the COVID period has made us adapt to that. But that adaptation has been very smooth and crucial, and it has added a lot of value in the justice system. Yeah.
When you think about bashing, because I'm sure you've received a fair bit of bashing, probably from some who misunderstand your mandate as the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. What is your office doing to sensitize the public on what you are doing?
Well, we've done quite a bit, I think. It is only the other day when we also had a meeting with the media fraternity to make them understand, because they are one of the people and they have the tools to be able to sensitize the public. So we've taken them through what the role of the prosecutor is and what an ideal prosecutor should be, what the public should be expecting from an ideal prosecutor. We managed to bring quite a number of people to come and share that their experiences. We had a prosecutor who came in from the US. We had a prosecutor from the United Nations and a prosecutor from the UK who came and shared their experiences and managed to be able to allow especially the editors to gauge where Kenyan prosecutors stand in terms of the kind of services that we offer. We also have had engagement with the public. We have had what you call public outreach programs, and it's only last week when we were in Kioria and we were engaging with the public and justice centers. So we've done quite a bit. Of course, during the COVID period, we had to be a bit measured But we have been doing that. In addition, we have our own platforms, the Twitter, Facebook. We have our own what we call the ODPP Cafe every Friday. We have different subjects that we discuss, and we ensure that we're accessible to the Mwananchi, so that they can get to understand what do prosecutors do and how best can they also be able to access services from us.
Yeah. Obviously, the nature of cases you're dealing with are not just related to corruption, but let's get into the war against corruption. Where are we, DPP? The people who feel out there like we're losing the war against corruption.
Well, we've done quite a bit. We have quite a number of cases in court. And we are trying to conclude those cases. Because if we're able to conclude and be successful with them, then the impact will be much more, will be felt much more by the public, and it will be able to allow people to understand how serious first the government is in fighting this menace, and also understand what are the consequences of being involved in corruption. So we are on the right track, and we've been continuing. We're in court, and we are bringing new cases also. But I've said in so many other places that we will not bring the cases just for the sake of it, because somebody has maybe misled the public that these cases should be brought to court. We will only bring cases that have evidence and that are watertight, and we think that have prospects of conviction.
Do you believe that those who feel out there like they are people who are untouchable when it comes to the war against corruption, like the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions sometimes takes a backseat when it comes to some individuals?
Like who? You have to be specific. You can't just say some.
Cases if you're prosecuting?
Sorry, are there cases we failed?
You fear prosecuting?
No. Have you seen any cases that I feared prosecuting? Now I'm asking you the question, because you can't just say it unless you can pinpoint to a case that you think I'm afraid of prosecuting. There are no cases that I've been afraid to prosecute.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your response to the KEMSA scandal, COVID billionaires. You said that you would rather lose your job, but you will not hurry those cases to court just because there's pressure.
Yeah.
Let's say more about it.
No. I mean, I think the public has been made to believe that we don't want to prosecute those cases. What I'm saying is that we are not ready, and when we are, we will prosecute. The evidence must be of a certain nature that we can be able to say, this is the money that has been lost, and these are the people who have that money, and we have prosecuted them. In the absence of that, I will not play to the gallery just to make people happy with a matter that I know is going nowhere. I will not lie to Kenyans. Yeah.
So that means when you produced the files when they were brought to you, there was not enough evidence that would warrant or that would lead to a conviction according to your office?
Well, after reviewing the file, we felt that there are a number of areas that needed to be addressed for us to be able to prove to court beyond reasonable doubt that these individuals took the money, and this is where the money is, and this is the money that we sought to recover, and this is how we're going to recover it.
When you returned the files, did you give a timeline to the investigators that we expect you?
You see, I myself do not believe in putting timelines in certain aspects, because I understand the complexities of some of the cases. There are some cases that we put timelines, but there are some, even if you do, you know that they probably will not achieve. So, for example, if we are dependent on other jurisdictions and other countries to help us get the evidence, how do I place a time frame? It will not be able, the investigators will not be able to meet that time frame. It will be unfair. It is also not open-ended. We agree that within a reasonable time we will review to see the progress and whether it is in our interest to still pursue. So we have mechanisms in place to ensure that it is not open-ended and it's not something that will just remain like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about change of tact. And I'm looking at the Aroki Morel dam. A number of times you've withdrawn charges against some of the people you intended to charge, and you're using them as witnesses. Is it a change of tact or a weakness of a case?
No. I think I've tried to explain without divulging my or our what you're calling tact or strategy. We have said that when I came into the office, what we found is that individuals never took prosecution seriously. And we did not have people who were willing to become witnesses, despite the fact that some of them were also involved in the crime. So the best thing was for us to charge all of them and let them think about it. And when they are ready to become witnesses and give us the requisite evidence, then we will negotiate. And it must be evidence that we feel is of value and that will be able to make us succeed against the most culpable individuals. So yes, we've withdrawn charges against certain individuals, but with good reasons, and those reasons have been explained in court, and the courts have concurred with us that we can proceed and do that, because we cannot just do it without consulting the courts and also consulting in the investigators involved. And then, of course, even when new evidence comes in, as I told you, in Aurora there are several jurisdictions that are involved. As they bring us the evidence slowly, we are able to see now a much clearer picture, and sometimes we then decide to even also review and refine the charges that we have put against certain individuals. So that's what we are doing, and I think it is successful, and I am confident that we shall succeed.
All right. There are corruption charges facing the former governor for Kiambu, for example,
yes,
Ferdinand Waititu.
Yes.
And last week you amended the amount of money that is being charged against him for misappropriation.
Yeah.
And there are those who question the timeline thing. Is it politically motivated?
No. Again, I told you, it's about evidence never ceases to come. It comes in all through the case. And it's only after an individual is told that they have a case to answer and the defense begins. That's when then evidence maybe might not be streaming in. But all through it streams in. And once it comes in and we feel that it is substantial, it's something that will make us succeed, we amend. It has nothing to do with politics. For myself, I have made these decisions independently, without considering whether that person is aligned to a certain political wing.
All right. The weak links in terms of the fight against corruption. There were problems in the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions before the adoption of a new constitution that actually removed the Office of the DPP under the Office of the Attorney General. Have you been able to identify some of the weakest links in the fight against corruption? How have you been able to bridge them when you're in office?
Well, there are quite a number of weaknesses, some of which do not relate to us as ODPP. And it would be best for you to place them in the appropriate places. But as ODPP, I think one of the biggest hindrances has been the fact that we used to rush to give consent. Now we don't do that anymore. We have the guideline to charge, the decision to charge guidelines that assists both the prosecutor and the investigator to understand what is required of them before a case is brought in. And we have therefore managed to bring, first of all, standardization and quality in terms of the kind of cases that we're going to take to court. So this has helped in ensuring that cases that are brought are strong and they will withstand time, and that we are most likely, all the time you cannot be able to get convictions, but most likely we are able to get a high rate of convictions because of the good work that will have been put into doing that.
I was asking that question because within your space and without, because in the whole idea of investigating someone, prosecuting them, and then getting a conviction is a chain. Within your space and without, do you feel like there's a form of inhibition to your office, like you're being inhibited?
No. Yeah, but why would you have that impression? Maybe you need to expound on that for me to be able to understand.
Let me expound a bit.
Yeah.
Some time ago, the DCI decided to go to court and, decided to prosecute a case on themselves, and it was almost an embarrassment because the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions had actually not approved those charges.
I think those are a few hiccups here and there. I have never heard of anything like that after that. But those things are things that we've ironed out. I think there has been clear interpretation of each person's roles, and we're going to stick to that. Yeah.
The investigative agencies that we have in the country, the ESCC, DCI, your office doesn't feel sometimes inhibited by these investigative agencies?
No, why should we? Yet we have clear roles. Ours is to prosecute and to look at the files whether they have evidence, and if they don't, then we tell them clearly we are not satisfied, please go and ensure that it has evidence. So kuna shida hapo.
You're saying your relationship now is mutual?
I mean, hii ni kazi tu. So our relationship is spelled out in the Constitution, in the different legislations, and we just have to live with them. And we are doing well so far. Okay. Yeah, and I think we are human beings. There will be hiccups here and there. There might be differences of interpretation or even personalities, but that doesn't mean there is anything that would stop work from continuing. Work has been continuing. It will continue. Our relationships, both with ESCC and the DCI, are cordial and respectful.
All right.
Yeah.
The president himself has actually lambasted the judiciary, accusing it of, issuing parallel orders or unreasonable orders. And out there's a feeling that the judiciary is dropping the ball when it comes to these high-profile cases, particularly that involve corruption. You say?
My say is this. One, first of all, that we are colleagues, and in any place you might have one or two bad apples, but it doesn't mean it is the whole institution. And I think sometimes also maybe you guys have also put things out of context in terms of what the president himself has said. I think it's very clear that he has not talked about the whole judiciary, but maybe a few individuals. And I think JSC is there, and I am confident that JSC will deal with those matters appropriately.
As you wind up, DPP, is a case of public interest right now. I think there are 4 petitions seeking for your removal. The latest was filed Monday, being accused of corruption and abuse of office. Who is after you, DPP?
I don't know. You should ask those people who have taken me to court. I really don't understand. But those matters are in court. I don't want to delve too much into them. Everybody has a right. If somebody wants me to be removed, there are processes that they can follow. I also have a right to challenge those who want to do it if I feel it is malicious and it is wrongly crafted. Yeah.
How do you feel about those petitions? Because this is the 4th.
It's okay. I mean, my predecessor had almost 10 of them. So it's okay. Wanaweza leta tutadil nayo, and if PSC feels I have to go, I cannot be in this seat forever. I recognize that. That's why I have a term, and the term will end. If I have to leave, if PSC really feels that I have to leave, and the president sets up on a tribunal, and the tribunal finds, there are processes, finds that I have to leave, I am a man of God. I believe that then God has better plans for me. Hii kiti kama vile watu wengi wanasema, wengine wanasema si ya mama yangu, inaweza kuenda anytime.
These allegations brought against you, I'm sure you've seen some of them. The weight they hold. How do you feel when these allegations are brought against you? For example, you're the one approving whether to charge a corrupt person or not, and then you...
And you see, I've not been accused of corruption. Actually, if you look at those petitions, they have accused me of making the wrong decision. That there was sufficient evidence and that I made the wrong decision.
Rubia's petition yesterday, DPP, accuses you of abuse of office and corruption.
What corruption did they say?
I don't know. That is why I'm asking you, when you see these charges being leveled against you,
well, if I will have to look at that petition, but I don't remember. I think his petition was to do with appointments here. And if he means that that is corruption, he will have to table the evidence. I am absolutely confident that I've never been involved in any of that, and that is just being malicious, and that I will also table my evidence and I will challenge the assertions. If you look at most of this, you will see that they come from one single party. Some of them they have taken, some people have withdrawn. Some of the things that they have brought without delving into the merits and demerits are things that are also before court. But like any other person and like any other Kenyan, I will have my day to answer. It's not my style to go and shout and make accusations out there. I will answer it in court and the PSC also. Yeah.
All right. The name of this segment, DPP, is Extra Mile, the advocate of the High Court for 19 years, having served in the security sector, now the Director of Public Prosecutions. What does the DPP do when he's not in the office? Or when he's not doing a tie and a suit, the serious man we see prosecuting corruption? What does the DPP do?
I have a family, so I'm usually with my family.
That's it?
That's it. What else would I do?
You don't play golf?
I don't play golf because mi ni mtu wa mtaa tu. Mambo ya kufukuza mpira ndogo, mtu mzima. Afadhali nitembee mtaani, siwezi enda kugonga mpira huko bana. Afadhali nicheze football ama niogelee. Golf, hata haijawahi kuwa. Unajua mimi nilisoma Nyaruru DB primary. So mimi mtu tu ya kawaida. Mambo ya golf hiyo mimi sijui. Hata naonanga tu kwa TV na ninashangaa watu wazima. Tena mpira ndogo, afadhali ile mpira kubwa football.
So wewe ni shabiki wa football?
Nachezanga mpira lakini sio die hard pia. Kwa ajili timu yangu sasa hii inafanya mbaya sana.
Especially
Hapana.
Manchester United.
Lakini tunaomba.
Thank you very much. The Director of Public Prosecutions, ladies and gentlemen, understanding the mandate of the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions and where we are in terms of the war against corruption. Keep watching KBC because KBC is home and Kenya is watching.
Ili kupata sikiza tuni hii ya Usini Record, bonyeza star 811 star 396 hash.
Unakata pia kabaya wa Kenya mnakuanga nako ya kuweka mtu kwa speaker alafu mnarekodi sauti yake bila ruhusa. Nikipata sauti yangu ina trend huko nje na kuna pesa napata, mtajua mimi mlu yako na roya na sina roya binadamu. Usini Record. Ili kupata sikiza tuni hii Usini Record, bonyeza star 811 star 396 hash.
The 7th and final annual Devolution Conference is back. The conference will take place from 23rd to 26th of November 2021 at Makueni Boys High School, Makueni County. The theme of the conference is multi-level governance for climate action, with the sub-theme, Sub-National Mobilization in Unlocking the Full Potential of Climate Action During and After Pandemics. The conference will be officiated by His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, President of the Republic of Kenya. To register as a delegate or exhibitor, visit www.devolutionconference.cog.go.ke or call 0718 242203.
Good evening, welcome to Business. I am Cynthia Nyamai. Now, players in the agro-processing value chain are urging the government to increase penalties levied on suppliers of counterfeit seeds to discourage the vice. Researchers say that some farmers are losing trust in farming activities and opting for other economic activities after incurring losses as a result of using uncertified seeds.
According to the Ministry of Agriculture, climate change, low adoption of technology and high costs of farm input are among the challenges farmers currently face. This is compounded by the growing proliferation of counterfeit seeds that is putting Kenya's food security under threat.
You know, our farmers are largely smallholder farmers. So when they make effort, do land preparation, and then you give them the wrong seed, all that effort is wasted, and we then affect livelihoods for people who really have not much of an option but to rely on farming with a sticker that is unscratchable, because this is what we have seen. That should already be a red flag for the farmer. So there's effort, but I think what we are saying from the seed sector is that the penalties that are levied on this are paltry, to say the least.
Yeah, as it was alluded to earlier, the penalties seem to be not as stringent, as heavy as it should be. So, you know, for that to be put together, you know, it has to go through regulation and then legislation. So there is a great move, even from the ministry and from other players, to try and see how we can put together regulations and strict compliance regulations on how this can be implemented so that we have more clear standard seeds in the market.
Despite 60% of farmers in Kenya using certified seeds, experts say that stopping counterfeit seeds alone will not be enough to streamline the value chain, with players now advocating for revamping the agro-dealer supplier system, removal of VAT on vegetable seeds, relooking the development land use policy, and upscaling the e-voucher program to safeguard against further losses.
That is why the government is coming in strongly to be able to try and regulate this sector so that we have access to the right seeds. When in this country, when things were liberalized, a lot of players came in and interfered with the standards. And so across the different crops, we have seeds that are not regulated, seeds that are very informal.
The government says all efforts to streamline the sector are on course, including drafting of policies advocating for cheaper farm inputs. They were speaking in Nairobi during the 9th Seed Trade Association of Kenya conference, attended by government officials, farmers, development partners, and agro-processors. Alanauko, Prime Edition.
Now, manufacturers say unpredictable tax system in Kenya is a major hurdle for the local manufacturing industry as it creates investor uncertainty and is eroding Kenya's competitiveness. This emerged during the 4th Manufacturing Expo in Nairobi, as Regina Manyara now narrates.
Through the Finance Act 2021, the government introduced an excise tax on raw materials and a 16% VAT on the supply of some products, effectively increasing the cost of production and the final consumer prices. Speaking during the 4th manufacturing exhibition, dubbed the Changamka Kenya Shopping Festival, local manufacturers called on the government to, among others, put in place a predictable tax regime to avoid investor uncertainty.
We talk about a predictable tax policy or a tax environment where we know what the taxation and the costs are going to be like. Regulations, harmonized regulations, whether they are national, county, and we have other regulators around for standards, etc. Some sort of harmonized.
They noted that unpredictable fiscal and regulatory policies significantly threaten the goal of growing the local manufacturing sector and gives an upper hand to imports. The expo to promote locally made goods is being held in Nairobi, then will also be held in Mombasa County next month.
We are also here to celebrate what we call the local content. We can see and showcase what you are able to produce and manufacture in our country. It is an opportunity also for Kenyans to come and see for themselves.
So the Changamka Kenya Shopping Festival is an event that we've been holding for the last 4 years, and it is a summit and expo where we showcase local manufacturing.
Participating exhibitors are drawn from different sectors, including the food and beverage, textile and apparel, metal and allied energy, plastics, fresh produce, chemicals, automotive and leather. Regina Manyar reporting for Prime Edition.
Civil society organizations and the Regional Education and Learning Initiative have rolled out a collaboration to establish a contextualized assessment framework that will evaluate the skills acquired in schools and how they help the youth secure jobs. Sam Mugasha, the investment principal at the Futures, says that the 1 million youth entering the job market every year, only 10% are absorbed.
As a young person, every day is a day for you to network. Every day is a day for you to create a solution that will bring you money but also solve a social issue. And don't give up, because we are 75% of this country and we can do what others did not do. We can innovate what others did not innovate. And we can provide solutions for ourselves, solutions for Kenya, solutions for Africa, solutions that will be able to make you better.
At CNI, we were now creating that platform where ideas can be shared, and we asked ourselves, how do we want to receive the ideas? We said we are not going to go the boring way, every time asking you, write an email to us, send a letter to us, or do that. We are going to make it pretty simple, just like the MC was trying to explain here. You go to your WhatsApp, you master our number, you send the idea, and the most creative and innovative idea, we award them with 100,000. Now what we wanted to do was to ensure that we encourage as many people, as many students, as many innovators direction.
Young people, the biggest bottleneck between us and the future is our own selves. To realize that we have the capability to solve our own problems and the problems for this country. If you're going to wait for the government to give you jobs, I'm sorry. We have to create those jobs. And that's exactly what I did with my first business, Wezatele. Back then in 2011, I built my first fintech company, Wezatele, and I solved a real problem that was in my community, helping small businesses to keep their records and access credit. And we were able to build a bigger business which was acquired in 2015.
Victor Baraza, an innovator who came up with a way to tackle mental health, has won 100,000 Kenya shillings from CNI, a WhatsApp platform that discovers innovators. The platform asks innovators to send their most creative and innovative idea on various challenges. Viley Okello and also Wairimo took the second and third places respectively. The aim is to reduce unemployment among the youth by asking them to convert their ideas, projects or theses in business ventures. Well, that's it for business. We have the Forex. After that, sports with Karen.
Welcome back. It's now time for us to take a look at what's making headlines in the world of sports. My name is Karen Kibet. Now, the 13th edition of the Masters Athletics Championship that is being hosted in Kenya at the Nyayo National Stadium officially commenced on Wednesday. 7 nations will be represented in the championship, where Kenya has fielded 120 athletes. The Kenyan team will be seeking to finish at the top after finishing second in the previous edition that was held in Tunisia in 2019.
It's very difficult times for us to organize international competitions and championships. For 2 years we had no competition at all, and AVMA, the region of Africa, is the first to have the strength to go back, to take all the duties that you have to do to be careful with the
Athletics. Kenya walikaa chini na sisi tukapanga hii mchezo ikapangika. Tunashukuru Athletics Kenya walitupatia fursa na hela ya kufanya hii trials. Baada ya hapo serikali pia katusaidia. Ndio hii michezo ya leo, tunashukuru sana serikali yetu.
Gives you that joy, and that's why I'm here to motivate and encourage my countrymen to come and participate and make it something that they love.
And we do wish Team Kenya all the best. Moving on, Kenya Ports Authority were crowned the new FIBA Zone 5 club champions after thrashing Equity Hawks 71-35 in a one-sided all-Kenyan title decider played last night in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. It was a finely poised contest after the opening quarter, with KPA just edging the Kenyan counterparts 19-17 before outscoring the Kenyan champions 16-10 in the second quarter to take a 35-27 lead into halftime. KPA's endurance showed in the last 2 quarters, beating Equity 12-2 and 24-6 to turn off with the result as they reclaimed the title that they last won in 2017. Claire Lamunu was KPA's top scorer in the match with 19 points, while Betty Kananu did the same for Equity with 13 points. Mukuyu FC and Mlimani FC advanced to the finals of nominated Senator Football Cup that is being held in Lugari, Kakamega County. Mlimani claimed a 1-0 win over Marakusi FC, while Mukuyu thrashed Mwamba FC 3-0 in the semi-finals. The championship is aimed at promoting football in the grassroots level and nurturing talent, with finals set to be played this Saturday.
Unaleta michezo, unazuia vijana kuenda kwa wizi, unazuia vijana kuiba, unazuia vijana kukunywa pombe, unazuia vijana kufanya mambo mabaya, hata kwenda kupeana wanafunzi mingi. Na hilo ni jambo la maana sana na ndio busara. Na ningeomba pia wadhamini wengine kama wapo watusaidie vile vile.
Imekuwa ngumu, lakini kulingana na ujuzi wangu wa miaka mingi, nilijua hawa vijana watashinda. Nachukua finali.
Captain wa Mlimani. Game imekuwa poa. Despite Mika captain fail to convert penalty, but tumekuja tukawin game. Hiyo tu fighting spirit ya teammates nini.
Mungu atusaidie tushinde finali.
Ferdinand Kuto Miradi ikiwa captain Mukuyu, nasema yenyewe tumekuwa na effort, aswa ofisi yetu imetusaidia sana. Tumeweza kufanya mazoezi pamoja. Tunajisawa wenyewe tupige hizo balls hata kwenda East Africa, hata talanta ikapa Mukuyu.
The national boxing light welterweight champion George Onyango will take on Fred Nyakesha on 4th of next month at Nairobi Charter in his quest to defend the title he won on split decision 3 years ago. The bout, organized by Big Time Boxing Promotions, will be the only title event and will be accompanied by 7 undercard fights, all sanctioned by the Kenya Professional Boxing Commission. Onyango has won 6 bouts since turning professional in 2017, 2 of them through knockouts and drawing once, whereas Nyakesha has won 7 fights, 1 via knockout, losing 3 times and drawing once since turning pro in 2011.
Yes. We are happy that you have come back.
And we will also support you in whatever that you want to help the young kids who are coming up. Because I've seen the card, some of them were an amateur, they are coming now to professional, which is good because we need to get young ones, young kids.
Mimi kwangu sichukuangi kama ni branch. He's a good boxer, tulicheza naye, na hii ni rematch. Mimi sikangi machungu. Akishinda, mimi nitamsupport, nitazidi kumsupport.
Boxer, George ni boxer, sham fight. Alionyesha ile kitu alishow kwa boxing, pia mimi nilishow. So tumekuja hapa kuwa hii ni sport, si war vile wanasema, na si grudge. Because
A total of 30 drivers will take part in the upcoming 4x4 challenge set to take place this weekend at Champagne Park in Kipeto, Kajiado County. The event has attracted much interest from participants ahead of Christmas festivities.
More than 25 drivers will compete in this weekend's 4x4 challenge set to take place in Kipeto, Kajiado County.
Some of the stages they did last time may look so different because they'll be done the opposite way. Some will be good, but some are going to be tough for the drivers, and that's part of the challenge.
The event has been categorized into 3 classes: for beginners who will run on standard 4x4 cars with basic safety requirements, intermediates who must have roll cages and helmets, and the experts who will be entering properly built cars with bucket seats.
We have 6 extra stages which we are going to create. It will be exciting. It's sunny, yes, but we'll try and provide some muddy sections throughout the stages.
The championship is held in different locations across Kenya, having originated in Britain in the late 1800s and has gained inroads in the country with local enthusiasts of the sport now pushing it to be professionalized in future.
Last time I was not able to complete all the stages because I got a breakdown, but this time we're looking forward to at least to take the trophy now.
I used another one last time. I had a different Polaris that I used last time, so I'm taking this one this time, and we're going to have fun, and I think we'll do pretty good.
The challenges bring together all off-road vehicles, standard 4x4s, modified 4x4s, rock crawlers, quads, bikes plus special vehicles in the open class category like pickups.
And finally, English Premier League side Manchester United booked a spot in the European Champions League knockout stages after beating Spain's Villarreal 2-0 last night at the Ceramica Stadium. Elsewhere, Chelsea progressed to the round of 16 after thrashing Juventus 4-0 to leapfrog them to claim the top spot in Group H.
In other matches, today's fixtures will see Man City take on PSG, Liverpool welcome FC Porto, and Real Madrid play away to Sheriff Tiraspol.
And those are the sports stories we had prepared for you tonight. Be sure to join me tomorrow, same time, same place for more sports stories. My name is Karen Kibet. Do have yourself a peaceful night. But the broadcast is not yet over, as I do hand you back to Kioria and Serfine for more.
All right, and this is how we now want to officially wrap it up.
Okay, and when we wrap it up, we head over to Reggae Fans for Reggae Nights, only all-day rave. My name is John Jacob Kioria. Sign language interpreter has been Lanza Odingo. Have yourself a fantastic night ahead, or a Reggae Night if you will.
Weekend starts early on KBC Channel 1. My name is Serfine Achieng. Thank you so much for creating time for us tonight. Have a good night.